Rocky Mountain Sasquatch organization. We're in North California looking for Bigfoot. We're in an area well known for Bigfoot sightings. We're near Myers Flat, out in the woods, seeing if we can find anything Bigfoot related because of the Bigfoot sightings in this area. I'd like to give you the Bigfoot sighting reports that motivate us to come into these areas looking for Bigfoot. We just don't show up to the woods in any old place and look around. There is a reason to our madness. It is because of the Bigfoot sightings in this area. So there's a couple of Bigfoot sightings in this area, and I'm going to give you the reports. Here's the first one. This is a fisherman's Bigfoot sighting report. Here's what he writes. Well, this was just supposed to be a fishing trip to see what the area had to offer. I had been coming into this area for the past couple of months and started to learn it a little bit better. So I decided to go exploring for some fishing holes. All I had with me was a fishing rod and a GPS receiver so I wouldn't get lost. I parked the truck and started out on foot. I had talked to 2 local fishermen about what was in these rivers and what to use. I'm from the south, and this area was like a new world. So I made my way down to the river along the side of the bank. At times the going got a little hard, but I managed. I tried several places, but the water was moving too fast. So I thought I would try and find a slack part of the river, where the flow was a little bit slower. Now these woods are a lot different than the ones I was used to, so I was a little excited about this new area. I had been walking for maybe 45 minutes and covered maybe 2 miles when I saw something in the distance. At first, I thought that it was just a stump, seeing that I had left my glasses in the truck. Now my vision isn't that bad, but I still need them for driving. But I started feeling a little uneasy due to an earlier encounter, plus it might have been a bear. Being the idiot that I am, I had to get closer. I got to within about 75 yards, because I was using the tree line as cover. That was as close as I wanted to get. You could say that my heart was beating out of my chest. It was like I had buck fever. Well, now that I was within good sight of the creature, it was easy to see what it was. It finally stood up, and I didn't know, up until that point, how big it really was. I had a roommate who was 6'7", and this creature would have easily stood over him. At the best guess, I would have to say it was 7 feet, 6 inches tall, and it had to weigh over 400 pounds. It finally turned to me and made me out in a second, but then it turned. It didn't run away instantly. It just stood there. I guess it was trying to see what I was. We must have looked at each other for 10 seconds or so, but it felt like 10 minutes. And in that time, I could see was that the creature was dark reddish brown, and the arms easily hung down to the creature's knees. Within an instant, something spooked it. The creature turned and looked down the river, and it just took off. The ground this thing covered was amazing. I didn't move for a good bit because I was in shock. After the creature had left, I did the same, once I got to my feet and got them working again. This happened in the spring, May of 2003. It was early afternoon and the light conditions were poor due to the rain. Richard Hucklebridge is the BFRO investigator that did the follow-up investigation report. Here's Mr. Hucklebridge reports. On the evening of January 22nd, 2005, S.Y. called me and we went over his second visual encounter, which occurred in close proximity to his short road encounter that took place in April of 2003. Note, his previous encounter is in report number 10265. This is report number 7504. I'll provide a link to this report and the other one I'm going to go over in the description of this video so you guys can go read these reports for yourself. Richard Hucklebridge report continues. S.Y. first thought that this might be a fisherman crouched on a rocky stream bed, and he thought that he would just amble on over and ask him a few questions about how to fish in the area. As he got a little closer, he noticed it was mostly just one color, and he then thought it might be a bear. Then it stood up and looked at him, and that's when it hit him that this was the same kind of animal that had walked in front of his vehicle back in April. This sighting made him a little sick to his stomach, froze him in his tracks, and this time it really shook him up. They sized each other up for what seemed like a very long time, but it was only a few seconds. The animal then turned its head to look downstream. SY thought it might have been a boat coming down the stream, and it made a 50-yard dash into the wooded area along the river and out of sight. Per SY, it took less than 3 seconds to make that move. The witness said that this creature was very large, 7 feet or so, with dark reddish-brown hair all over its body, and weighed over 400 pounds. He couldn't give specific characteristics of the face due to the distance. SY noticed that the legs had large quads and were short for its height, but the torso seemed very large, much longer than a person who might have been that tall. The arms seemed longer than a person and much more muscular. He couldn't tell if it was male or female, but he didn't see any breasts on its chest. What SY wanted to convey to everyone is the speed that this creature can move. It was much faster than the best of our athletes. Richard Hucklebridge, he goes on. On this outing, SY still didn't have a camera in his possession. He didn't check the area for footprints because he was shook up. After talking to SY on 2 different occasions, I too will be planning a trip to this part of the woods. Please notice the time of year and the weather conditions when the sighting occurred. If you've seen one of these creatures and want to talk with SY, just write to BFRO comment section and I will pass along your email address so he can make contact with you. This next Bigfoot sighting report is not very detailed. It's a few years before, but nonetheless it's in the same area. This actually happened August 22nd, 1999, near the Myers Flat area. And here goes the gentleman's Bigfoot sighting report. My 8-year-old son and I were hiking the Grasshopper Trail. We were near the campgrounds between Wayette North and Myers Flat South. The time was approximately between 3 and 4 p.m. on Sunday, August 22nd. One side note, I was pretty hesitant about submitting this kind of info until I found the site and read some of the experiences in the same place. We were about a quarter mile up the trail from the river. We were walking relatively quiet and slow along the path when we stopped on the path for a moment for my son to tie his shoe. As I waited, I surveyed the thick redwood area above. As I looked, I noticed something moving about 150 to 200 feet in the distance next to a large old redwood stump. The more I looked, I began to see more mass of the creature. I finally realized what it probably was and what it was doing. It had a human-like torso from the waist up, and it appeared as if it was scratching its back against the stump. I gained a back and profile view before I could no longer overcome the intense fear I was experiencing. I urged my son as seriously as I could to run as fast as he could. After running for about 30 seconds to a minute, we stopped. I wanted badly to go back and investigate, but understood I could not, because I was with my son. I know the exact location of where the stump is, and I plan to go back. I hope to find something near that stump. There is not a follow-up investigation report with this gentleman's report. However, we are in the area looking around today. That's what we do. Bigfoot sighting reports, especially multiple reports in an area, is what motivates us to come into the area and look for Bigfoot. Please, by all means, if you have a Bigfoot sighting report it with someone that's going to go public with it. BFRO obviously allows people to stay anonymous if they choose. So do we at RMSO. So I don't care who it is, if it's BFRO, if it's us, if it's someone else that's going to get it out into the public so that the public knows, we can get a record of this, a history of the Bigfoot sightings, and it gives people like me and my group the opportunity to go into the areas and look for Bigfoot evidence. Thank you for watching. We're going to keep on squatching.